Good morning, Marshall. How are you today? Well, welcome to another week of Carlisle's Corner. This week's topic is conflict resolutions. I say resolutions because there are many ways to solve a conflict. Now, the first way to not solve a conflict is fighting physically. If I'm upset at somebody and I don't use my words or tell them the way I feel, and I go up and I just hit them, is that a way to resolve the conflict? No, it is not. That's going to cause more conflict. That is what they used to say as add fuel to the fire. And that is just going to cause more problems than you originally had. To solve a conflict, you need to use your words and to be honest and sincere with what you say. Usually, when somebody is mad or there's conflict, someone's feelings have been hurt. It all boils down to hurt feelings. And if you can admit that your feelings are hurt and you approach that person and you're just honest and say, "You've hurt my feelings," and you can talk it out with the person, that will solve 99% of all conflicts. For instance, at home, at the Carlisle house, sometimes my husband does things that he doesn't think. He leaves his clothes on the floor. Well, as you know, boys and girls, I have a full-time job here at Marshall Leadership Academy. And when I come home after working all day and I see his clothes on the floor waiting for me to pick them up, I get mad. Now, I could go in and start yelling and screaming at him and just go off the handle and everything. But what would that do? If I go in and I start yelling and screaming at him, what's he going to do back at me? Yell and scream. And then we're going to end up in a huge fight. Well, that isn't going to solve anything, because are those clothes still there on the floor? Yes. Am I still mad because he threw them on the floor? Yes. And really, am I mad because the clothes are on the floor? No. I'm mad because he threw them there and did not respect me enough to say, my wife has a job. Maybe I should pick the clothes up off the floor and not wait for her to do it. That's what it all boils down to. So, if I can keep my emotions under control and go to Mr. Carlisle and say, "You know, Mr. Carlisle," well, I really call him Gordon, "You know, Gordon, I work a full-time job too, and I am just as tired as you when I get home. Would you please pick your clothes up off the floor? Because I feel disrespected, and it hurts my feelings when I come home and all of your clothes are on the floor after I've worked just as hard as you have today." And if I say that to him, what's Mr. Carlisle going to do? He's going to go and he's going to say, "You know what, Whitney, you're right." And he's going to go pick up those clothes off the floor. And we haven't yelled and screamed, and he's thought about what he's done, and the clothes have been picked up, and he's going to go and do it. Now, he may or may not apologize, and that's okay with me. You know, in a perfect world, he would apologize. But has the problem been fixed? Yes, because the clothes are up off the floor. So 9 times out of 10, which is about 90% or more, that if you just approach the person who's caused the problem and you calmly say, "You know, you did this, and this is how I feel about it," then they will fix it. But you have to be honest and you have to be sincere. Yelling and screaming or doing something just as bad to that person back does not solve a conflict. Now, what if I came home, Mr. Carlisle put the clothes on the floor, I got mad, and I took off my clothes and I threw it on the floor? I'll show him. Would that solve anything? No, because we just have more clothes on the floor. Then I would be mad, then he'd be mad, and then we would end up in that yelling fight, like We have before, because people do fight sometimes. And then it wouldn't be resolved. So remember, boys and girls, if you go to the person who causes the problem, you are sincere and honest with the person on how you feel, which is sometimes hard. But if you go directly to that person, not a friend to the person, don't tell everybody else, because then that just causes drama. But if you go straight to that person and you're sincere with your feelings, 9 times out of 10, it's going to solve it. Now, what about that one time that it doesn't solve it? Sometimes you need to get an adult involved. If you go to that person and the person says, and you go to the person and you say, you've done this to me and it hurt my feelings. And the person says, I don't care. I don't like you. It may happen, especially once you get to middle school and high school. Middle school and high school friends, very different than here at Marshall. Well, you may need to get an adult involved. That's when you go to somebody you trust. You go to your parents, you go to a teacher, you go to a counselor, or you can go to a principal, assistant principal, whoever you feel comfortable with, and then you tell them what's happened. And then an adult will get involved and make sure it does not go further. But don't ever feel bad about yourself or let things fester up in you. Take care of a problem. Just make sure that you handle your emotions and that you do the right thing, because you can only control yourself. You cannot control other people. And you know that if you've done the right thing in a situation, you sleep well at night, knowing that you have been a leader by doing the right thing and not causing problems. And that you have tried to resolve conflict, not cause conflict. If you have any questions about a problem that you're having, go to a trusted person. Go to your parents, go to a teacher, go to someone that you trust. You are welcome to come see me or Miss Borozak at any time, and we can help you with that problem. And otherwise, go to the person and just tell them how you feel. Hopefully that will resolve that conflict. Have a great week, boys and girls.
Carlisle's Corner, Carlisle's Corner, it's morning time, listen up.